Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Joe Daddy's Garage. It is Monday, September 26th, 2022. Fall is here. Thank goodness. We have the windows open in the house. I've had the garage door open, enjoying the fresh air, the breeze, the lower humidity. I give a bell for fall. That's all I can say. I really enjoy this time of year. I think most of us do, and it's hard to beat. It's hard to beat. Now, of course, we know after fall, winter's coming, which cold weather, all that stuff. Shut the doors again, turn the heat on. Yeah. So let's enjoy fall while we can and get some work done on these cars, right? Try to get as much done as we can while the weather is nice. I have a few things to talk about tonight, but we're gonna see who's here. And normally when I do this, I give out some random bells, right? So part of this program is designed for interaction. That's what I want to see. I like to have interaction. So if you have a subject that you'd like to talk about, or if you have a question you'd like to have answered, I'll try to answer it. If I can't, I have a good group of people over here on my left, that are pretty good at coming up with responses that help out everybody. So if you're interested, you get a good question, I'll give you a bell. Just a little reward system. And if you also like what you see, by all means hit the like button, because that helps YouTube know that people are watching this, and maybe more people will get interested and want to join in. Who knows? Who knows? I've been doing this for a long time. I think I'm guessing like 2 years now that I do this on every Monday night at 7 o'clock. And we have a great group of people that show up regularly, but it's always nice to have new voices come in and participate. So let's see who's here right off the top. First one in, Terry Keithley. Glad you're here, Terry. Evening, all, and Barry. Please hit the thumbs up and like button. Thank you kindly. Yes, for some reason, his early response didn't show up last week. So glad you're here, Terry. Jerry checking in from the Money Pit in Middle Tennessee. Hope all is well with you, Jerry. Give you a bell too. Steve Grimes. Good evening, Barry and chat. Welcome, Steve. Glad you're here. Hope the weather is good in Pennsylvania. I know it's getting cooler. It's getting cooler up there. Crash Rider from very comfortable southern Indiana. Good evening to everyone. I believe that Duke, Joe Daddy, is correct. That follows here. Be sure to hit the like button. Yes. Thank you, Crash Rider. Bob Shoemaker. Good evening. Are you in the path of the weather? I'll give you a bell for that question because I don't really know. I'm assuming some of it will hit us. I know the Hurricane Ian or whatever you want to say is coming up the west side of Florida, from what I've seen on the maps, and it is getting ready to pound Tampa, I think is what they're saying. So if it's coming up towards Atlanta, we're going to get some of it. I'm sure we will, because normally that's the path. It just kind of goes up through Alabama and Georgia and Atlanta and works its way back across to the Carolinas and such. So I hope it's not anything severe when it gets to us. I hope it's died down by that time. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get something. Rick, yeah, it seems like fall may be here, but then unfortunately winter. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, that's all part of it. But yeah, you're right. Chris Greenaway, have to go to work, but wanted to pop in. I have a question. I found a 72 Montego GT. Needs a lot of work done, but comes with everything to build it minus a few odds and ends. Should I go for it? If it's within your budget, sure, why not? If it's within your budget, I know you talked about those cars many times. That you've wanted one. This might be your opportunity. I know I've missed out on a few cars because I just hesitated. We'll talk about that more as we go through this evening too. But yeah, if it's in your wheelhouse, you can afford it and you want to dig into it, get it while it's there. Chris, more than my skill, but I'm really interested in learning. Well, that sounds like you have an opportunity then. So yeah, go for it. As long as you can, budget for it. That's the important thing. Raleigh, good evening from Virginia. Glad you're here, Raleigh. Rick, did the 66 Mustang with the 347 and AOD Translate? Nope. Surprise. Surprise, it's still sitting. Yeah. No. No. It's not. I don't think it's. I don't think it's ever going to leave. It's like the. What was that movie? What about Bob? What about Bob? With Bill Murray, Richard Dreyfuss, and he was some sort of psychiatrist, and they kept trying to run that guy off, get him out of here, and he wouldn't leave. So we've made a joke about that before at the body shop. You know, he's not gone. He's never gone. That's the way the car is. It's never gone. It's growing roots right now. Yeah. So, Ed, hope all are doing well. Glad you're here, Ed. Brian B, hope everyone had a good weekend. Yes, it was a good weekend. We'll talk about that too. Had some good stuff going on. Jeff Reynolds, here's one of your good group of people. Oh, well, yeah, sure. I'll count you in that, Jeff. From the UK. Jeff is here from the UK, so it's late there for him, but I'm glad that Jeff is here. Lynn H, hey from PA. Hey, Lynn, glad you're here. Robert checking in. Evening, everyone. Internet is out, so on the phone and finally starting to feel better. That's good news and bad news all in the same sentence. So I'll give you a bell for showing up. Wally, fall is here in Canada. Leaves and temperature are dropping. Yeah. Well, you know, it's been quite comfortable, I'll say, the past week. They're calling for highs, like today is supposed to be a high of 80, and then 75, 74, 71, 65 on Friday. But we're also going to get hit with rain, so that's where temperatures are going to drop. And lows in the 50s. So yeah, it's really nice out. Really nice. Glad you're here, Wally. Good evening, Dave Tyson. Good evening from Minnesota, 56 and sunny. That's a little chilly. That's good. That's good bonfire weather right there. Oh, that was a loud bell. Sometimes I hit the thing and it does great. Sometimes it doesn't. You got the loud one. Robert, hoping summer's finally over. Back to the 90s next week. You got to move, Robert. You got to get out of the heat wave. Find somewhere else that's not that bad. Because, man, those summers are rough. Let's see. Rick Stevenson. Good evening, everyone. Glad you're here, Rick. Ray Buckman. Evening, all. Hi, Bear. Hope all are doing well and projects are coming together. I hope so as well. Jerry. Hi, Barry. Howdy, all. Robert broke our internet. Lilina got us both sick, though. Yeah. Jeff, Bear, don't give us any of that. I won't hesitate. Spiel unless you tell us that you know what film it's from. I won't hesitate. When did I say that? I won't hesitate? I was talking about what about Bob? Don't give us any of that. I won't hesitate spiel unless you tell us that you know what film it's from. Oh gosh, Jeff. I won't hesitate? I don't know. You have to clue us in there, Jeff. Sorry. Tim checking in. We've had some low 40-degree nights already. Well, you might be plowing snow soon. Glad you're here, Tim. Give you a bell. If you haven't checked out RC Guy Garage, go ahead and check out his channel as well. Not right now. Check it later. Does some really cool RC stuff. He really does. Good at crashing stuff and making crazy jumps and all kinds of stuff with those RC vehicles. Terry says, Barry selling our 78 XR7 Cougar, 54,000 miles, fully loaded, $4,000. Contact me if you contact me through my, wait a minute. Contact me through you for my email. That's hard to say. So if anybody's interested in a 78 XR7 Cougar, 54,000 miles, that's really probably a good deal, Terry. I'm assuming. So if anybody's interested, send me an email or say something on here. Matilda Martinez. Hi from Brownwood, Texas. That's a new name. I'll give you a bell for being here. Glad you're here. Chris, thanks, Barry. I'm just nervous about taking a project more than I can handle, unfortunately, to learn and gain skills, you have to challenge yourself. That is very true. That is very accurate. Very accurate, Chris. Dave Conville checking in. Good evening, all. Glad you're here, Dave. Lucky Luciano. Hi, Barry. Been a minute. Guido here. How's it going, Guido? Hope all is well. I see an occasional post from you on Instagram. Occasional. 87 degrees in Southern California today. Well, let's hope they don't shut off the power on you anytime soon. Steve Boyink. Boyink? I guess that's how you say it. Hey, Barry, long-time listener, first-time caller. I inspired by your videos, priming parts for my 70 Boss 302 tonight. Awesome. That is good to hear. That is good to hear. Nice. Let's see. Rick Gain, my first girlfriend had a 78 XR7. It got killed when it got hit in the back by a Jeep. It was a nice car. Okay. That's that's sad, but I don't know if you're interested in another 78, but there's one available. I'd have to look it up to actually envision what that car looks like. I'm picturing like a big car. I can't put it directly in my mind. Jeff, Barry, I'm not going to turn this into film night, so I'm going to let you sweat on this one and feel the heat. Okay. Feel the heat. Is that a hint? Is that some sort of hint? Thanks, Jeff. I'm going to be worried about that. I'm going to be really, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about some things that went on this past weekend. I talked about looking at the 63 Falcon convertible that was over in Alabama. And I was pretty interested in that car. Obviously interested enough to go drive over there and look at it. No, couldn't do it. Roger and I went over there and we eyeballed the car pretty good. Didn't take much to identify that it was a major project. We could just tell by just pulling in the driveway, and Roger was quick to point at some paint that wasn't right, and it was pretty obvious. But it was painted. I showed pictures of it before. It was painted a Wimbledon white. Let's see if I still have those pictures up here. Yeah, these are the pictures that were available. Now, pictures can really deceive, or you can see what you can see, but sometimes you really need to see the car in person. So we went and looked at it. Found out the car was originally black with a red interior, which is really to me a big plus. That would be a great combination, red with a black interior. It was advertised as a V8 car. Now, I think they bought it with a V8 in it, and there may be some speculation as to whether the VIN number was correct. I don't know. But as we looked at it and we dug into it a little more, we discovered it had 4-lug wheels under it and a little tiny rear axle. So it was a 6-cylinder car. Kind of a strike there as well. And then it was very, we'll say, bubbly. Very bubbly. Somebody had decided to, well, rather than fix anything, just cover everything with Bondo. And I don't know what, I can tell you there was garbage underneath it, and they just packed it with Bondo and just painted it. Unfortunately, due to that kind of work, the car had the panels sounded like that. Never a good sign. And there was bubbling in the quarter, bubbling in the doors, bubbling in the fenders. Floor pans were rotted out. Really, the only positive in my mind was the 302 that was under the hood. Yeah, that was it. That was about it. It would be a total do-over. And the owner, after I talked to him a little bit, he knew it was trouble. He knew it was. I think he was hoping for somebody that was really looking for one of those and be willing to jump into it. But yeah, it wasn't what we had hoped. Now, when we were having the conversation with the owner, he brought up that there was only, and I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know how accurate the numbers are. He was saying there was like 4,162 of these things made or something, convertibles. And of those, he was saying that there was, I don't know, 1,000 V8 models or something. So that would have had a 260 V8 in it. And he was, commenting that there's probably very low numbers of those existing, period. And I agree with him. If you look at the math, you say there's 4,000 of X and 60 years of time due to attrition, wrecks, rust, whatever. Yeah, there's going to be a limited number of those cars. So we didn't get the car, just passed on it. From there, we grabbed some lunch and we headed to Senoia, Georgia. Or if you live there, you have to say it wrong. You have to say Senoia. I think Senoia is how they say it. I don't know why. Senoia. It's Senoia. But they say it's Senoia for some, I don't know. Anyway, so we drove down there, which is south of us. And there's a huge car show they have every September, I don't know, the third Saturday or fourth Saturday, whatever it is, in September. And if you've never heard of Senoia or Senoia, it is a small town where they filmed a bunch of movies. Driving Miss Daisy was one of those. I can't think of all. There's a whole bunch of movies that were filmed there. And also it's where they filmed The Walking Dead. So if you're into that, that's where they film a lot of that. But we got down there and we started looking around at all of the cars. And there were some really nice cars. I will admit, there were some really, really nice cars. And there were some drivers. There were some driver cars. And there was stuff that was in between that range, which is, normal. You're going to have all that. There was a Super Nash there. I don't know if I've ever seen a Super Nash before. There was a Hudson. There was, I don't know, a variety of Mustangs, fastbacks and coupes. There was Mopar stuff. There was trucks, probably some motorcycles. But as we walked around and looked at these vehicles, lo and behold, there was another 63 Falcon convertible sitting up on the side in the area over there. And we went over and looked at it. It was Wimbledon white with a black interior, and it looked like they were working on it. It had similar problems body-wise that the other car had that we were just looking at. But this one was running and driving, and so they were obviously doing stuff with it. So we continued to walk around. We saw some AMXs, or an AMX, I think, or maybe I think it was an AMX, maybe a Javelin, and then some Mopars, like there was a Dodge Demon and a Duster right next to each other, and all kinds of cool stuff. And then there was another 63 Falcon convertible. Couldn't believe it. We're walking around. We just came from looking at one, and the guy tells us you probably won't see another one of these for a while, and I would agree with him. But then, like I said, this was the black or the white, the cream colored one with the black interior. Good looking little car. It really was. Well, from there, we run into this beauty. This car was gorgeous. It was a Wimbledon white with a turquoise interior. But here's the kicker. This is a one-owner car. The woman sitting in the background up here under this little red canopy, it was her car. It was her first car she ever bought, and she still owned the thing. And there's some information on the front that talks about it. My first car, original owner. I didn't get a good picture of the sign. And then there was something else about the interior of the car, like she was commenting about the back seat it was the original back seat and stuff like that. Beautiful car. I mean, it was really cool to see that stuff. But it was just, we found it very funny that here, we went and looked at one in the morning. In the afternoon, we find two more. But I would have been more interested in either one of those two than the first one. Just saying. From there, that was pretty much it for the day. I know I was worn out. We drove about 200 miles that day, and I was tired. I'm sure Roger was tired too. Came home, took a nap. I was like, enough of this. I gotta lay down for a little while. So anyway, that was how the weekend, or that part of the weekend, went. And then Sunday was, of course, a nice day and all that. So anyway, that was a weekend for us. Let's see here, Jerry. We are predicted to be in the low 40s tonight. Nice cool weather for the next few days. The remnants from the hurricane on Saturday. 40s. Ooh, yeah. Rick, XR7, big luxury car, long hood. Wish she had kept it, but she left it not in a nice way. Yeah, I understand that. Phillips Run Drip and Bubble Company. Zach Brown Bar. Yeah, I think Zach Brown's still down there. I think he still has a bar. I don't know. I know there had been some conflict with the bar down in Sonoya. I think Reedus, whatever that guy's name was. I think he had a restaurant there or something. I don't know. They've got a Walking Dead store, and it's a knick-knack, paddywhack. All kinds of stuff that they sell down there as, I guess, collectibles. Hold on just a second. Okay, so back to Jerry. You may recall I cranked the engine and dropped it, and it dropped the number one main bearing. So block, crank, and head are at the machine shop last Friday. Man, I'm sorry to hear that, Jerry. I really am. That's gotta be frustrating. But I'm sure you'll get it right and have it running good. I'm sure you will. Something else I was going to... Well, you know what? Let me go ahead and show you these pictures. I had a few people send me some pictures today already. First, I want to cover something. We had Bad Harry on here last week, just briefly. And he's from Canada, and he drag races his Mustangs. He had sent me some pictures, updated pictures of his drag car going down the track. And so I wanted to share those. I don't know if he's on here tonight or not, but really cool car. Just really, really neat to see something like that racing around on the track. Good stuff. And then we also had, there were some pictures being sent again last week, and let me think of which one it was. Hold on just a second. It was, Mike. Mike had sent me pictures of his Scrambler. Yeah. So let me pull up these pictures so we can share those as well. And Mike had said in his email, spent a lot of hours on the quarter panels. Now I need some red paint. Original paint had lead in it, so they cannot make it anymore. And that was kind of a question mark. And I'm assuming they do not make it anymore. So there's a shot of his Scrambler. And that looks really good, honestly. I mean, if you just got a couple little light spots breaking through, that's really good body work. Just saying. I like it. And then I had, earlier today, Scott sent me these pictures. Now this is definitely different. This is definitely a different vehicle. Okay. I think it's a 61 Plymouth. And it's for sale, but it's a 61 Plymouth. And I will say that is a different approach. I don't know if that was A four-door or a wagon? I really don't know. But there's a couple other shots. I'm going to assume it was a wagon based on the back end of the car because it looks like it's got a tailgate on it. So it was probably a wagon that got modded slightly. I I don't mind seeing stuff like that. I don't. I wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't own that. It's just a really odd car to do that to. Now, I'll bring this up as well. A car like that. I've talked. I've talked about junkyard stories before. And I'll go ahead. I'll just say that. We'll say junkyard. When I see that car, it reminds me of cars that my dad used to modify for like work. Because my dad, by trade, was a heavy construction carpenter, and he would frequently come home with leftover materials or stuff, from the job site that it was just extra or leftover scraps, whatever. And to get that stuff home, he didn't want to drive a regular car to get it there, to get back and forth. So he would take big, like that car right there, like that 61 Chrysler, whatever it is. He would take a car like that and he would turn it into a pickup truck, which is very much what these people have done. But he wouldn't put the back window on like that. He would just lop it straight down, follow the door jamb vertically, and just close it in with a piece of plywood and put a little window in it. And then the rest of it was all truck space. And so he did that to several of those. And he would just use it like a pickup truck. And it worked. And it was one of those things where function doesn't, as long as it performs the function you need, it really doesn't matter what it looks like. It really doesn't. This is just a variation of that, let's say. I know it's just trying to copy like the El Camino, but it definitely is a different approach. We'll say that. Let me pull that back down. All right, let's see. Marshall, howdy folks. Great weekend for car shows. I went to the Northeast Georgia Mustang Show in Hiawassee at the fairgrounds. Good show, great venue. Stretch the fastback legs in the mountains. Good times. I keep forgetting about stuff like that. I do. I keep forgetting about events like that. I never make it to them. But I'm glad I got to the other one on the south of us. Jerry, does anyone have an opinion of the main rod bearing clearances on the crankshaft? I don't know what that's supposed to. I mean, I'm sure that the machine shop should know. Let me ask you this, Jerry: did you use Did you put it together, or did they put it together? Are they doing the assembly process, or is it something that you're dropping it all together? Because I know what I always used when I put stuff together was it Plastigauge they called it, where it was like a little plastic wax type material that you would put in there and you would torque it down and take it apart and then measure how much that thing compressed to give you the idea of how tight it was. I guess they still use that. I don't know. That's what I used to use. So I'm just asking. I don't know if it's them or you that's putting it together, but I don't know what the clearance should be on the crankshafts. Phillips Run, Hiawassee, man, that's my hometown. Oh, okay, cool, very cool. Okay, there was something else brought up that I want to talk about, and I want some interaction. I really do. I want people to respond to this. So it was suggested I bring up the subject of, let's just say, expectations. Right? Expectations. What is meant by that is, what do we have, or most of us have, as expectations for our projects? And here's what we're getting to. I know that for myself, I'm pretty picky. I'm pretty picky. And believe it or not, I know people that are a lot pickier than I am. I really do. But I'm pretty... I want tight gaps. I want body alignment. I want everything to fit like it's supposed to be, or better than it did from the factory. And I think a lot of us, in some respects, may get caught up in that. You know, Roger and I went to the car show, and there were some really slick cars. I mean, there was cars that they had spent a lot of money on, a lot of money on, and we were looking at those cars, and of course, Roger said, I've kind of trained him to look at some stuff a little more with a little more critical eye, and I think I've done that to a lot of people. But I could look at this. It was a beautiful Mustang, and the owner was proud of it, and he was talking about it, and somebody asked him what the color was, and he said it was a custom mix, completely custom mix. That's great. That's fantastic. The problem with that is whoever painted the car didn't follow what I would say is the correct procedures. So the main body of the car, the fenders, it was a Mustang, it was a fastback. The fenders, the hood, all that stuff looked fantastic. And then we got to the quarter extensions, and they painted them off the car. And I know that they painted them sitting this way on a platform, on something, because the metal flake was going the wrong direction. So something like that, whenever somebody is throwing big money at a project like that, things like that need to be right. They need to be right. You can't second guess that stuff. And when you get to that, and like I repainted the whole Mustang because I didn't like the way it turned out. I had problems with it. But he was happy about that car. He loved this car, and I could tell that. I'm not going to step back and say, "Hey, this isn't painted right." I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. It's not my job. But I know from my preferences, that's what I want to see when I'm done. I want my car to. I don't want somebody to come up and say, "Oh, you painted that wrong." I don't want that. But the thing is, we can all get caught up in that, really, really bad. And Brian is when we were having this conversation, and Brian had brought up the fact that you can get you can dig yourself a hole that you may not be able to get out of. The reality is, for a lot of us, I couldn't pay somebody to paint one of my cars. I couldn't. I wouldn't pay somebody to do anything to one of my cars unless it's like the transmission. I don't want to mess with the transmission. And a lot of that is because I just don't want to mess with the transmission. I know I could, but I don't want to buy the tools. I don't want to do it for one time, maybe twice. No, I'll just give it to the guy I know that does transmissions. But the problem we run into is, and part of this may be because stuff you've seen that I do, I want to encourage people to get into their cars and do stuff. And you see how hard I am on myself whenever I'm doing these sort of things. But the reality is, if we could just enjoy the car, you know, sometimes it's such just a great thing to get in it and go for a drive. Doesn't matter if it paints right. It may not matter if the door fits right. It may not matter that there's a rip in the seat. What matters is enjoying the car. I know, like Brian was saying, it's taken him, I think he's into 10 years on working on his car. When he probably could have said, hey, you know what? I don't need to worry about this being blah, 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 perfect, whatever. And he could have just probably created a stopping point somewhere else. And it's easy to get caught up in that. We see the TV shows where they have crazy expectations, and they talk about they rebuild a car in a week, right? And the car looks amazing. It looks amazing, and everybody thinks, "Oh, they just did all that in a week." Well, yeah, they had 200 guys working on it around the clock, whatever it is, maybe 100 guys, I don't know, but they have them working around the clock. So it wasn't a week; it was literally months of time packed into a weekend or something. Nobody's going to pull that off unless they have a crew. And then they have like an unlimited budget, and they have sponsors, and they have amazing tools and equipment and all those things that just, boom, all I have to do is have everybody in the world working on it and get it done in no time. So anyway, just thinking about those kind of thoughts. I probably have enjoyed, like I had the '55 Chevy, and I really enjoyed driving that car, the Rat Rod that I had. I really enjoyed driving that car. For one, I did not care at all what it looked like. I did not care what it. I mean, I care what it sounded like because it sounded really cool, but I didn't care that it didn't have an interior in it. It didn't have door panels. It didn't even have glass in the back windows. There was no headliner, no heater, no radio. It was just a shell of a car sitting on basically a hot rod frame. And I loved to drive that car. That thing was fast. It didn't handle great, which you're not supposed to, but it can go fast, and it could stop really well. And I never wanted to go any further than that. People would look at that car and go, "Oh, it'll look great when you finish it," and I'm like, "It is finished. I'm not spending tens of thousands of dollars to put this thing together so that I can park it in a garage and never drive it again." No, I didn't want that, and I still don't really want that. When I drive the Mustang, yeah, I'm a little more apprehensive because I'm concerned. The reality is on that Mustang, when you start getting really picky on stuff, that car, all of the panels. Now, granted, I replaced the quarter panels, I know that, but all of the identifying marks that tell you what year the panels were made are original in that car. I know it's cheating by replacing the quarter panels, but the reality is the drip rails in the rain gutters in the quarter panel area, there's a date code stamped in there. So those are still there. The fenders still have the date code. The cowl still has a date code. All those things that make that car original to the era are still with the car. So, you go out and somebody hits that thing, now what? Now I don't know if I can find another fender that has the right date code in it. Yeah, you can find the Chinese ones that don't fit that great, and you have to massage everything. So that's where I get a little more apprehensive. I've talked about it before. The other '68 Mustang, the one I've called Red Dave. I really don't think I want to fix it up as far as the body. I don't really want to. I do want to make sure it's solid. Floor pan is solid. Frame rails are solid. Torque boxes are solid. I want to make sure all the underside is solid. I may even upgrade the suspension, do some fun stuff with that if I ever get to it. And it would be cool to make like a road course car out of it, and just have this. Don't even paint it. Just have fun with it. So sometimes it's better to get the just find a happy spot where you can say, "Oh, you know what? I'm okay with that." Sometimes it's better for all of us. So anyway, I'll get off that little platform right now. By all means, participate. Let me know what you think. Let's see. Michael Pagliarini, there is a big Fox Body show coming up. Not sure of the state it's in. Well, I guess we'll figure that out. Thank you, Michael. Rally, Plastic Age is still out there, but most of the parts store folks have no idea what you were talking about. Like I said, I don't know if they actually do it or not, or still use it. I assume why not? It works. It was a great product. Dawn's Manufacturing. Hello, everyone from PDX. Hope you all are doing okay. Hope you're doing well, Dawn. Glad you're here. Jerry, I will be putting it together. What I'm reading is there should be about 1.5 to 2 thousandths clearances. That may be right. I don't know for sure. I'm sure if you had a I have manuals on rebuilding like small block Chevys and stuff, and I know that information is in there. So maybe there's something, but that sounds reasonable to me, but I don't know for sure. Betty, the name of the movie is What About Bob? Yeah, okay. So is that what we were talking about with Jeff? Because I'd mentioned the movie What About Bob. when I was saying he's never gone, maybe we were talking about the same movie, didn't even know it. Simone is checking in. Hi, Simone. Glad you're here. And here's a bell for Betty. There you go. Talking about paint. Steve Boyink. We learned that lesson the hard way. Also, paint the parts on the car, otherwise they don't match. Yes. And I highlight that. When I painted any vehicle in my space back there, I've made sure to show everybody, do it like this so you can get that finished look. Michael, my OCD gets the best of me all the time. I will do the same part 3 or 4 times before I'm happy with it. I get it. Believe me, I get that pretty easily. I do. So I'm with you. Rick, have you seen the Holly Goat on Pole Barn Garage YouTube channel? A 69 GTO used for target practice in Texas for 30 years. No. Have not seen that. Dawn, yeah, I guess I'm painting Betsy for sure. It ain't gonna be perfect. Hey, you can do it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Raleigh, did a glance at the local news, and already some knucklehead wants to call it the storm of the century. I thought Katrina was that one. Well, it could be. I know they said something about this would be like a 100-year storm for Florida or something. I think. I don't know. There's always going to be another one that tops the others, right? It's always a competition. Who had the biggest storm? We did. Who gets the most relief funds or whatever? But I don't know. Katrina was apparently pretty bad. I remember that one, but I don't remember when that was exactly. Early 2000s? Right? That had been maybe 06, 07? I don't know. So it might have been early to call it the storm of the century. Maybe it was at that time. We were just starting. Shane, Andrew, Grease Rookie Garage slapped his thing together and just enjoys driving it. Lesson for us all. Yes. That's a very valid point. That is a very valid point. I give him all the credit for that. He took a basic 6-cylinder car, fixed up the way he could and wanted to, and enjoys it. That's fantastic. It really is. Simone, I need to paint the bonnet/hood on my daily. It is really rough. Yeah. Well, you could. I don't know what the daily is, but you could do some graphics on it or something. Put some flames or really draw attention to it. Rick, Katrina was 2005. Yeah, I knew it had to be. I was thinking 05, 06, but yeah, thank you, Rick. The reason I know about, was thinking about Katrina whenever you mentioned that, is that storm. We know that it wiped out all kinds of stuff over there, and I think it was probably 2006 or 7. I think there was a car for sale, and it was like a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am. And I had bought another 2001 Pontiac Grand Am. I think it was a Grand Am that was wrecked. And it was going to be for my wife to drive. And so I bought the car, and I needed a parts car. And this parts car in Louisiana, let me think how that worked out. There was actually 2 of them. That's where I bought them both over there, now that I think about it. The plan was to buy, one was a flood car, and the other one was wrecked. And so I talked to a friend of mine. I said, hey, here's the deal. I'm pretty sure they said that the flood car would run, I think, and the other car was obviously wrecked. So I said, let's drive over there, take a trailer, we'll load up the wrecked car on the trailer, and then have him drive back the other car. Seemed like a great plan. Didn't work out that way. Unfortunately, we get over there. We were able to load the wrecked car, but the other car, it had some sort of security fault system built in to where the key would crank and shut off and crank and shut off and crank and shut off. And we tried to mess with it, and decided we can't wait any longer. We drove out, picked up that car, and drove straight back on the same day to New Orleans. What we saw on the way was the damage from Hurricane Katrina. There was, all over the place, trees wiped out. In fact, there was Six Flags. They never reopened it. Six Flags Amusement Park was just wiped out. You think about all these big, expensive roller coasters and all the stuff they put in those places. It was wiped out. So we got the car back here, and then I made another trip with my youngest son, who was probably, 10 at the time. Was he? Let's see, 90. Yeah, maybe he'd probably 11, maybe 12, probably 12. Anyway, we did the same thing. We drove straight out, picked up the other car, and drove straight back. Long days. And then I fixed up the Grand Am. My wife drove it for a period of time, and we discovered that those cars have a lot of electrical problems. Just do weird stuff. And so we sold it. Got rid of it. Let's see. Okay, so Dawn says, for Florida, it would be Hurricane Andrew. That sounds reasonable. Yep. So far, well, we have Ian coming. So I don't know how you compare. How do you compare one to the next? If it does $10 more worth of damage, is it the worst storm? I don't know. I'm not sure what the scale is. Car Guy Troy never painted a car before. That's why I watch your channel and others so I can learn. Have a couple of things to practice on, that's for sure. 76 C20 Camper Special, 2 67 Mustang convertibles, and a VW bus. Well, those are all good things to work on. A 76 C20 Camper Special. I like that. That's a good truck. And, of course, the convertibles are good, too. I don't know what year the bus is, but those are quite popular. Simone, the Daily is a Rover 75 British Executive Saloon. That sounds fancy. It sounds fancy. I couldn't tell you what it looks like, but it sounds fancy. I would still put flames on it, though, just to be different. Rick, Katrina was 2005. Yep, thank you. Rally, my 6.7 will get new floor pans and upgrades on brakes and steering, but I'm liking the idea of just drive it to have fun. It is solid, just looks bad from the bad paint job. Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like I said, you spend way too much time doing a paint job. Or you can spend way too much money doing a paint job. Just saying. I'm guilty of it. I'm very guilty of it. Rick, a lot of folks don't know about Camille that hit close to the same place in 1969. Are you talking about in Florida or Katrina? Because I don't even know which part that is. Robert, having classic cars painted is very difficult, even if you have lots of cash to throw at it. So for the hobbyist, the only way is to paint it yourself. I agree with that. Because, the shops... Let me wait. There you go. The shops really, honestly, I don't think they want to paint these cars. Because they know how hard it is to get it painted. They'd rather be doing collision work every day. Just get it done and get it out the door, get paid. But the old classic stuff, They fight with getting it moving. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Okay, so I have a couple of pictures just popping up. So let me add the first one. And we had talked. Lynn had asked a question about the EFI system, and the response I got was says, "Hi Barry, last week I had asked you about installing the EFI Sniper in the Mustang. Well, I figured since this is my first classic car that the EFI was out of my skill range, so I went with the Holley Street Warrior 600. I still have some tuning to do, but it is coming together. Oh, can you give me some suggestions for must-have tools for my garage?" Well, I could probably do that. That looks good. Got the export brace on there. Got the wires run nice. Yeah, that looks good. Good job, Lynn. Give you a bell for that. And then I have another picture from Simone. Let me get this. Okay, so this is the. What was she say this was? Is a Rover 75 British Executive Saloon. Okay. I don't know what I would compare that to here in the States. But, yeah. Looks like a good commuter car. Why not? All right, let's go back up here. Okay, hold on. Mini Truck and Medic. What's happening? We're hanging out. Trying to enjoy the weather. Simone, nice cars at Car Guy Troy. Mason is checking in. How's it going? It's going pretty good, Mason. Hope all is well with you. I was going to ask you, is that Chevy yours? It is not. This is the 56 Chevy Gasser project that I've been working on, that I'm this close to being done. I finally got everything. Everything's painted. Frame and all is painted. I've got all the suspension back on it. Set the engine in. I still have just sort of mount the headers, put on the clutch linkage, minor stuff. Really, a little bit of time and everything will be ready to go, and then it can head on back to the owner's place, and he can get started on it. Simone says hi to Robert. Okay, Mason. Yeah, it's someone else. Yeah, it's not my car. Not my car. Lynn, what is the average cost of a paint job on a classic car? Average cost, that's kind of hard to answer. I would say part of it depends on the shop. Part of it depends on the materials. Materials are not cheap. They add up very quickly. I would say you'd probably at least have $1,000 in materials. At least. When you start really adding everything up, at least $1,000 in materials. So depending on the skill set of the person doing it and how long it takes them to do it, probably the minimum you're looking at is $2,500 minimum. More than likely, you're probably looking at $5,000 to $10,000. It's just the way it is. People, they know they can charge that, and they will. And it takes a lot of time to get one of these cars ready for paint. So I hope that answers your question. Good question, though. Thank you, Lynn. Mini truck restoration is a very expensive game. Yes, it is. Accurate. Robert says, hey, Simone, no England trip. She picked up the bug at the doctor's office last week, and we are getting over it now. Yeah. Deuce saying a Taurus. Well, you know what? I guess you could say that. That's pretty close. Or even if you don't look at the nose of it, maybe a Ford 500. No, I'd go back Taurus. Never mind. Yeah. So it's a Taurus with a better nose on it. I'll go with that. Let's see. Hold on. Simone says it has a BMW M47 diesel engine. Okay, that's cool, because you don't really see diesel engines, diesel-powered cars over here very much. Steve, looks like a Jag during the Ford years. You're not wrong, but then again, yeah, I could see that too. You're right. Mason was going to ask what you're putting in for an engine, and what's the headers you're going to put on it. This engine is a 396, and the headers are going to be fender well headers. I think, yeah. Let me grab one. I'll show you. So the header is going to go in here, like this. I get it lined up. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. And it has a Super T10 4-speed in it. Deuce. Exactly, Steve. That's what I thought. Taurus Jag. Yep. Car Guy Troy, agree with do-it-yourself. Last quote I got for a full paint job was $20,000 to start. What? With a reputable restoration place, not as many body shops around nowadays. Too much money in collision work. In quicker collision work. Yeah, you're right. $20,000? I don't charge nearly enough for anything I do. I can tell you that right now. I don't. Thank you, Car Guy Troy. I think, okay, so Don is saying, he'll finish out his sentence down here. My brother just spent $15,000 for bodywork and paint, 69 fastback. Well, based on Car Guy Troy, that's probably reasonable, because I don't know what it needed, if it needed any serious anything done to it, if that was just for prepping the body and painting it. Because there's so many things that come into play when you start talking about painting or body work. If you have a solid car, that's one thing. We all know you start digging, in most cases you're going to find some bad spots that you have to cut out and weld in or replace or whatever. That just compounds things. Just makes it so much worse. But thank you, Don. Crash Rider, one reason shops don't like to paint classic cars because the owners are pickier than most collision repaired vehicles. I agree. You're absolutely right. Dave Britton checking in. So we had two. I'll give a double Dave. That's our second Dave, I think. So I didn't give Dave Conville the first one, so we'll give you double. Steve, my 55 Chevy neighbor has a 67 fastback in his backyard paint shop with an LS motor in it. Oh, that's going to turn some heads. That's going to turn some heads. I hate to say it, but I would probably do that too if I had a chance. Shh. No, I can't do that. I would get in big trouble if I did that. Big Talk. What do you think of the Toyota GT Starlet from Japan? Oh, that's a good question. I don't even know what that is. Toyota GT Starlet. Okay. Let me see what that is. Oh, that's not what I thought it would be. That's a little. That's interesting. It's just a little hatchback. I don't know that I've seen one of those. I mean, I would drive it. It looks kind of like a little cross between a Subaru and a Renault car. Kind of a mix there. So yeah, I would drive one of those. I like little cars. I have my little Honda Fit that I drive everywhere. I really like driving the thing. It's like driving a go-kart. It really is. So yeah, I'm not against that at all. Mini truck. Want the best price? Start with a solid project. Yes, and see, there's even places like Mako. okay, I don't want Mako to touch really anything that I do. However, my understanding is Mako actually has some good painters. They really do. And if you do all the prep work yourself, pull the lights, pull the trim, get it all the way to the point of primer, and you're happy with it, and you get it all the way prepped and take it to them, my understanding is they will paint it and do a good job of it. Probably your best bang for the buck, honestly. Because if they don't have to do any work to it, they're happy. But you got to realize it is still Mako, so I don't know what you can. I think you can go in and talk to them and say, hey, I want this quality paint, this quality clear, whatever, and I want this car sprayed, and I'll have it all ready. And you just put it in your booth and spray it. I mean, I'm not against using a facility like that for that purpose. Simone says Jag S-Type was a rival of the car. Okay. Mason, fender headers, I bet those will be loud headers. I'm sure they will be. I am sure they will be. I think he's going to put some sort of mufflers on it. I think. Probably going to have to. Simone says Mondeo was a direct rival. Yeah, you could make up a name and we wouldn't know the difference. That's the funny part. We wouldn't even know. You could just come up with a different name and we wouldn't even know. Deuce, those hours of bodywork add up fast. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Give you a bell for that accurate statement. Ismael Gomez. My car just got painted, and I will be doing the finishing myself. Some stuff I have no idea how to do it, and shops don't even return my calls. Maybe Barry can. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I mean, I try to help people when I can, but I don't know what I could offer. Don, it was a wrinkled Fairlane. He has to assemble it. Oh, okay. You're talking about a fastback Fairlane. Okay. Big Talk says 1.3 turbo. Oh, that would probably be a fun little car to drive. Fun little car to drive. Let me just. I mean, I don't know what year they made those cars. This is. I'll load a picture up here. We'll just take a look at it. What was that picture? Yeah. Wait a minute. Okay. Hold on. I got to get the right picture now. Where did it go? Oh, wait a minute. Okay. I'm messing up. I'm messing up. Oh, it won't let me save it that way. Never mind. This is showing a 95 Toyota Starlet GT Turbo 5-speed for sale at BAT auction, sold for $8,600 on March 5th, 2020. So, oh well. I can't save it. So we're going to go on. Move on. Jeff. Awesome, man. Thank you. Appreciate it so much. Thank you. That's awesome. Let me see here. Mason, one of my buddies, has a 67 C10. He's got a 468 big block, and it's mean. It's got a True Dual cherry bomb glass packs on it, very loud truck. It's got a Muncie 4-speed too. Wow, okay. You can't keep tires on that truck. That's a fact. Well, then I got a price for the Mecum style paint job on my 67 for $12,000. Well, your car is pretty solid. By the looks of it. I would say that's not cheap, but they don't have to do much to your car, which is probably why you got that number. Robert, collision parts in modern cars fit really well these days, so when they look at a classic with really badly fitting parts, they add nines to the price because it's so much more work. That is accurate. Yes. Yeah, I've shown it when I did like that little Honda Civic that I painted, fixed the whole front end on it. I just bought a generic fender from Summit Racing, a generic hood from Summit Racing. Put them on. Look, it looked just like the Honda fender. It fit pretty much perfect. So yeah. Paul, your shoebox is coming along nicely. Yes, thank you, Paul. It'll be going back to the owner in the next day or so, and then he can work on trying to finish it up. I've got a few odds and ends I want to get in here. I still have that Honda Civic that I want to finish up. I got to put the cable pull system back in for the gas door and the trunk lid. The thing rusted up, so I'm going to replace that. There's a couple other things that I want to look at and make sure that it's ready for sale, let's say. Cargo Troy, I know a few people that did the Mako route, did all the body work, etc., work themselves, just had them spray it. Paint was pretty darn good, actually. That's what I've heard. I mean, they know how to paint. They just don't care about what they're working on, from what I've seen. I mean, I've had cars show up at our body shop we had where, like, they didn't even tape off half the stuff. And the people come back to us and say, look at this. I said, well, what did you pay for that? Well, it was $300. I said, well, you got what you paid for. Sorry. Nothing I can do about it. Deuce, I've seen some nice makeup paint jobs, just can't get the $500 special. Well, it's even worth it to pay them $1,000. If they're going to do a good job and spray it right, it's worth it. If they've got good paint booths, if they don't have any trash in it, and it looks good, it's probably worth it. Dave, I never thought I'd say this. Our local Mako did some very nice work on my and Jack W's daily driver pickups. Have to give credit where credit is due. Good. Well, like I said, they can do a good job. Most people that are just looking for paint, they don't really, they just want a fresh paint job on it, like to sell it, get it out of their life. If they spend a few $100 on it, they're happy. Get it out of the way. Mini Truck says, just don't go on Monday. Yeah. Valid. Mac, sorry I'm late. What's shaking everyone? Glad you're here, Mac. Mason, does Joe Daddy's Garage remember the Mazda RX-7 cars? There's fast little sports cars too. Yes, I do remember those. They were pretty quick little cars. Larry Fordyce, are you still in Japan? I'm going to assume. I don't know. I'll assume you're still over in Japan. But I'm glad you're here, Larry. Welcome back. That was a good bell. Max says, awesome, Jeff. Yes, definitely. Definitely. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on just a second. Brian, YouTube channel Peter Anderson from Australia has several videos on starlets. Okay. I'd have to check that out. Okay, let's see what else we have. Dawn. Mako, we paint everything. Tires, glass, chrome. Exactly. Exactly right. Well, Steve, you sent me some pictures. I don't know if I can do anything with those. Be hard to get, because when I can't transfer them very easily from where we're at. But that's pretty nice. It's got send me some cool engine shots. See if that'll. It says Holman Moody on the top there. That looks pretty good. Yeah. I like it. Mac, you always get what you pay for. That's pretty accurate. Yes, I would agree with that. Rick, where is Earl Scheib when you need him? $99, get your paint job. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't even think you could rattle can a car for $99 now. I have seen people use rattle cans though, and apparently they make a big deal of it. There's people that do it on YouTube. Spray up a car with rattle can paint job. Hey, if it works, it works. Suburban Hooligan. I did all the paint body work on my Bug. I took auto body classes at a local community college. Gave me access to all the needed tools, plus a paint booth. Paint job came out pretty good. Well, see, that's a very good approach to that. Very good approach. Larry, yes, sir. Still in Japan. Lifer. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Yeah, Steve. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can, because I have to. I kind of have to go different directions when they come in on Facebook. It makes it a little bit different. So I'll see if I can even get that to pull up here. Hold on a second. Because it does things a little weird on the doing it through Facebook. Let me see if I can. Do it this way. Whoops. Okay. If I can pull up these other pictures here. I think I can do it. Okay. So Steve was saying, just messaged pictures of the 67 Fastback with the LS motor and fake distributor. So look at this. Okay, now that I see it, you know, I would say most people walking by, looking at that, would have no idea. Would have no idea. That's pretty cool. I must say that is pretty cool. Now, I've not seen valve covers like that. I'm assuming, did he have those custom made? Because really, I mean, that looks good. I like that idea. I really do. Pull this back down. Comments. Ray Buckman. Got a call tonight, Barry. Barry and I'll have a great rest of the week. Thank you, Ray. Glad you're here. Car Guy Troy, if you're talking about small sports cars, had a 280ZX 100 years ago that was fun. Straight six, 5-speed, fun car. Yeah, those were fun cars. I would agree with that. Mac, have a great night. Okay. I got it, Steve. We got it in there. Lynn, no wires on that motor. What? Yeah, it's still being built. This is just all in the mock-up phase. But what we're really looking at is an LS, basically a Chevy LS engine in a 67 Mustang. And he's customized everything to where it's going to look like a Ford engine, like it's got like a 427 or something in it. And I don't know what the story is on, like I said, on the valve covers and all that, if those are custom made to copy kind of the Ford shape. That's really interesting. He's really done his homework by the sounds of it to make that thing look like it does. Crash Auto, majority of the time you get what you pay for when it is cheap, but you don't always get what you pay for when it is expensive. That's yeah, that's accurate. I like that. Dave Tyson, engine too small for Ford. Well, yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's not meant to replace, say, a 427 or something, but it's going to be enough that most people walking by aren't gonna recognize what that is. They're not going to know that's an LS GM motor sitting in that thing. Just saying. So I think we all get kind of, especially, I mean, we can look at an old engine, a 302 or a 350 Chevy or whatever, and pretty easily recognize what it is. When you get to these new ones, like we saw, Roger and I saw a 60, it was either 67 or 8 fastback that had the Shelby style extended headlight buckets, the fiberglass pieces that came forward, and it had this custom hood. I don't know where this guy got this hood, but it was pretty incredible. It had a what's the engine everybody's talking about now? I can't even think of the name of it. Everybody's doing this big conversion. We're putting in the big Ford engine. Drawing a blank. Anyway, it has this huge modern Ford engine in it, and the way that everything was shaped, the hood kind of like literally sat around it. There was very little space at all to get that thing in there, but it looked really good. Yeah, Coyote. Yeah, sorry, Steve. Coyote. I don't know why I can't remember that. I guess because I have no real interest in making one happen, but that's what it had in it. And I probably should have taken some pictures of it because it was. But the thing was, car guy Troy 7.3 gas Godzilla engine. Yeah, not that one. This guy he was talking big, like he was saying he sold a 69 totally redone 428 Cobra Jet and a 69 Bronco together. They were both completely redone, and he sold the pair of them for like $130,000 or something. And he was talking about this Mustang, how he had spent big bucks on getting everything done to it. But I'll tell you what, I don't know who did the work to it, honestly. But whenever he was, talking to people and kind of, I won't say bragging, but kind of bragging about what he had done to the car, all I could see was a horrible paint job. The car was white, had the big Coyote engine in it, had really cool interior. It was all TMI interior and all that stuff. Had the I don't know, the solid panel Mustangs to Fear headliner, all that cool stuff. And then I'm looking at it, and it was like overspray on everything, everywhere. It didn't have the chrome on the car yet, around the windshield and stuff, but under the hood, they had painted it, and I really don't like this, but they had painted it with the fender bolts in place. I don't like doing that. I like to have them off, but they did all that, and there was overspray on the the core support, on the cowl. There was overspray in the back on different spots, and I was like, "What's going on here? What are you spending to get this thing done?" And then it has all this overspray on it. Just wrong. Ed, I would set the distributor as a dummy, as the LS does not need one, and there's nothing to drive the distributor. Yeah, that's what he was saying. It has a dummy distributor on it. Exactly right. It has a dummy distributor. So I was looking at that thinking, where are you going to run the wiring? Like, if he's going to put plug wires on it, because I'm assuming the coil packs are tucked underneath the valve covers, I'm assuming. So somehow he's got to make the wiring look like it goes somewhere. But yeah, I'm with you on that. It does look pretty cool though, I have to admit. Michael, there are coilovers. I did look into that myself. My wife wouldn't let. What are we talking about? I must have missed something. Hold on. I don't know where we lost something in the translation there. Ed Cucciarella says all part of the illusion. Yeah, yeah. Mac, tape and masking makes a huge aesthetic difference. Yes, it definitely does. And like I said, I don't know what he paid for the paint work or the body work or anything like that, but no, I could not have overspray all over. It was engine bay was all black too, and had white overspray on various. No, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. But he was, bragging about how people were selling all this, high dollar Mustangs. I don't know. I didn't get his name or number or anything. Let's see, Lynn. Maybe it's Bluetooth. Yeah, the distributor. Everything's Bluetooth these days. Everything. Clark, the guy with the LS should run roughly cut garden hose as spark wires. Yeah. He could do like Model A. Run the Model A style cap, where it had the flat copper wire with prongs on the ends. That's what the Model A has. It slides over a post on the distributor, comes down and slides over a post on the spark plug. That would turn some heads. Dave Tyson says it fits nice. Yes, it does. Dave, I kind of shake my head when I see this stuff like that fake distributor. It's got to be real. Well, the thing is, it's an LS. It's an LS motor and a Mustang. So he's doing it to fool some people, and I get it. I get a kick out of it. I mean, I get it. It makes perfect sense to me because none of that's necessary, but he's doing it for the optical delusion. Car guy Troy. I've heard of people taking cars to Mexico recently for restorations. Guess that's a thing now. Watch a video on it, and the work looked really good. Less money, apparently. I wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Simone, sorry, I have to head to sleep. Good night, everyone. Glad you're here, Simone. Have a good night. Yes, hit the like button. Thank you, Riley. Okay, so again, the 56, I hope to have everything done by tomorrow. Somebody had mentioned, I forget who it was, about the I say Z-bar. I'm going to say Z-bar. Bell crank, whatever you want to call it. That when I built the thing, they said I should add some reinforcement to it. So I did. And I wanted to make sure this was taken care of before I finished up putting the headers on and wrapping everything up. So I did add an angle strut to help with the I still say Z-bar, but bell crank. So now it's got a vertical piece to help strengthen it. Just like I did on the clutch piece that I welded to the frame, I added another piece to that as well down below to make sure it was good and solid. Let's see. Rick, if an LS isn't aluminum, I'm not interested. I'll go, yeah, I get that. Steve, the coil packs are under the block. You can see a cover plate leading to the distributor. Plug wires will go from the fake distributor to the plugs. Coil packs are under the block. I can't really tell in the pictures. When you say under the block. So we'll have to see some more pictures when it's all finished up. Clark, every time I see Dave Britton comments, I read them in Christopher Walken's voice. Love the thumbnail. Well, that's him though. All right, Robert he's crashing out. Night all. Thanks for being here, Robert. Mac looks good, Barry. Thanks. And Betty Keithley. Good night, Simone. Sorry to hear about the Queen. Praying for the UK. Yeah. Other than that, that's where it's at right now. Gonna finish up 56. Get the Honda in here. There's a couple things I need to do. Like my wife's van needs another oil change. Probably put a serpentine belt on it. I may even put new brake rotors and pads on the front. Get rid of the shake. When you hit the brakes. Not a fun thing. I've had brake pads and rotors sitting in here for like, I don't know, 6-8 months, maybe a year. Your own vehicles, they kind of get pushed aside while you do stuff like this. That's how it works. Dave Britton says, "Oh, I get that every now and then." I could see that. Okay, I'm going to call it a night too. Time for me to get in the house. Grab a dessert. Yeah, gonna have a dessert tonight. Probably another big bowl of ice cream. Love my ice cream. Dave says that pick is 17 years ago, by the way. Car Guy Troy, Chevy looks pretty good. Thanks and good night. Yes. Okay. So thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate all the input, comments, questions, and keep that in mind. I've talked about it earlier about the expectations. What do we really think we should do to a vehicle? Is it worth it sometimes to make that decision? We had Chris on here earlier talking about his Montego GT he's interested in. I hope he gets it, and I hope he can fix it up and make it a driver, car for himself. It's one of those dream cars that he's always wanted. Hey, if he can get it, get it. But that'll be it for tonight, and I'll be back next Monday. That'll be what? Will that be October? I think it will be. It'll be the first show in October. But I'll be back on next Monday anyway. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.